a few other attendees that have registered, but whether or not they arrive, I'm happy to get started with just one person in attendance. Before we do start, I would like to get you to just check in and just let me know that you're here with me and that you can hear my voice before we get started, because I wouldn't want to start without you. So if you can just use the little chat window there to say hello, or just check in and just let me know that you're here and you're present, I can go ahead and get started once at least one person is in attendance. So Leanne, if you don't mind just typing a little message for me if you can hear my voice, and just let me know that you're here. We can get started, and anybody else who wants to join us along the way can do so. Today we're going to be talking about how to get the most out of your launched and live RealtyNinja website. Before we do get started, I just want to make sure that there is at least one person here in attendance, so that you're not missing out on anything and I'm not starting without you. So Leanne, I appreciate you joining, and if you don't mind just typing a little message for me just to say hi in the chat window there, then I'll know that you're here and I can go ahead and get started. My name is Seppi. I'm the head of marketing and sales here at RealtyNinja, and today I'm going to be taking you through a lot of steps on how to get the most out of your website. Awesome, Leanne. Thanks for checking in. That's great to have you. Thank you for being here, and thanks for your time. So what we're going to do today is cover a bit of an introduction and a couple of rules that we learned along the way, along the years of building RealtyNinja websites. We're almost in our 10th year here. In June, we'll be 10 years old officially. And so we've learned a lot of things along the way that we're going to share with you today. Once we're done that component, we're going to get into on-site optimization tactics. So things that you can do on your website to drum up more traffic and visitors and convert more of those visitors into leads. And then we're going to get into off-site optimization tactics, which means that things you can do elsewhere on the internet outside of your website to actually send traffic to your website. We'll finish up with a little touch on our dojo, which is our real estate marketing and technology blog, and our ebook series to kind of help keep your real estate marketing and website marketing education moving forward. Just so you know, you can use that same chat window at any time to leave questions for me. If it's a pretty big loaded question, I might save it to the end, but if it's something that I can answer on the spot, since it's just the two of us here today so far, I will answer your questions as we go. So feel free to engage with me using the chat. I'll have one eye on that chat box the whole time, and I can kind of communicate with you back and forth. Also, just so you know, you will be receiving a copy of these slides afterwards. So you can download these slides when this webinar is over. So you don't need to sit there and take a bunch of notes. You can if you want to, or you can just sit back, relax, and kind of enjoy the show. So give yourself a high five or a pat on the back. Having a RealtyNinja website that's mostly automated on a mobile-first platform and beautiful and easy to use, you're already way ahead of your competition. The average realtor out there still doesn't have their own website on their own domain. And of those realtors that do, they usually look bad and they're not very user-friendly from a usability standpoint or technology standpoint. And they're not up to date with the kind of internet best practices like SSL security and mobile responsiveness. So you're already way ahead of the average agent. But this isn't a webinar about being average. So let's get into how you can be a little bit more above average. So one thing we like to cover before we get into this webinar is kind of the state of the world that we live in right now. Obviously, the state of the world that we're living in right now is a little bit different, specifically in this moment. But in general, we're living kind of in an attention economy. Everybody's on their smartphones and everybody's consuming content at a crazy rate. We're consuming 10,000 times more content than we did just 10 years ago, whether that's on YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, anywhere online that we're consuming content is essentially trying to take a piece of our attention. And so when you think about the state of this attention economy and how everyone's out there trying to borrow some attention, it really makes you wonder, what do I need to do as a real estate agent to take some people's attention and bring it to my website or to my social media platforms or my YouTube channel or wherever you kind of exist online? What's it going to take people away from their Netflix shows and their YouTube and their Instagram and bring it to your profile and your website? So like I said, we're 10 years old almost, and before RealtyNinja, we were building real estate websites for agents using custom website development tools. And over the years, we've learned a lot of things. A lot has changed, but a lot has stayed the same. And we're going to share two of the simple rules that we've learned over the years of building real estate websites for customers in Canada. Rule number one, don't be generic. Generic marketing is forgettable. And generic, when I'm talking about being generic, I'm just talking about trying to cater your real estate business online to anybody under the sun who wants to work with you. Being generic is deadly for your marketing, and it's not going to resonate with anybody very strongly, and it's going to make you get forgotten quite easily. Welcome, Blair. Thanks for joining us. We just kind of got started a couple minutes ago, so you haven't missed much. Thanks for being here, and please feel free to use the chat box there to communicate with me and leave any questions at any time. So rule number one, don't be generic. Rule number two, it's not all about you. It's about your visitor, and it's about creating value for your visitor and for your target audience. So once you're done with rule number one and you're not being generic, it means you've chosen a target audience that you want to focus your marketing on. Rule number two speaks to creating value for that target audience that you've chosen. So pick a target audience and find a way to provide value to them. And that's the only way you're going to take their attention away from Netflix and YouTube and all that other stuff and bring it to your corner of the internet to pay attention to you for a little while, is by providing them value. Lots of opportunities with working in the internet these days. Everybody's kind of there at your fingertips. Everyone's on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. Whatever your target market is, there are websites online and social media channels and everything that can attract those people. So reaching these people in the hundreds or thousands is much easier than ever before by using modern marketing and new technology. Whether you're a new agent who's just starting out and this is your first website, or you've been in the business for 10 years, it's really easy these days to kind of compete with the veterans. Real estate used to be much more difficult before social media and websites and internet to compete with those veteran agents that have their Rolodexes full of names and network and partners that they worked with, and they have referrals and repeat business. Nowadays, it's much easier to kind of step into the game and compete with those sharks of the industry. Now, as real estate agents, you guys are kind of like local celebrities in your area. Anywhere that I go in my community, I see pictures of real estate agents. I see their advertisements, their signage. And now with the internet, you have the ability to further that reach online and become the local celebrity online as well through social media, through your website, and become the quote unquote digital mayor of your area. By just engaging with your target audience and with your community through your website, through your blog, through your social media channels. A couple of important questions to ask yourself, whether you're just rebranding, after 10 years in business, starting a new website with RealtyNinja after years in the business, or if this is your first website and you're just getting your website strategy going. These are always two good questions to ask yourself at any point in time. One, who am I building this website for? So this speaks to that not being generic point we talked about earlier. You need to define who your target audience is. Now, let's say you define your target audience as first-time home buyers. That's fantastic. Everything on your website should speak to that clientele. If someone who's not a first-time home buyer reaches out to you, you're going to work with them, absolutely. But it's much easier to resonate strongly with your target audience if the messaging on your website and your social networks is speaking directly to them. So make sure you know who your audience is. Even go as far as drawing out an ideal client persona of who you're going after, their age, their demographics, how they get their information, what they do on their spare time, where they live currently, things like that that'll help you understand who your audience is. And then you can kind of, cater your messaging to that audience. Now, question number two is, what do I want these visitors to do on my website? So after you've defined who these people are and you know them inherently, now you need to decide what you want them to do on your website. You're, of course, going to provide value to them through your website, but there's another question here is, what do I want, right? Do you want them to pick up the phone and call you? That might be a really big ask after visiting your website for the first time. Maybe it's better to get them to read one of your cornerstone blog posts that speaks specifically to that target audience. Maybe you want them to do a search. Maybe you want them to go to your About Me page. Figure out what's really important to those people and what you want them to do, and make that the main kind of call to action on your website. And we will talk about call to actions a little bit later as well. A list of things that a truly ninja real estate website should do. Now, I'm not going to read through all of these because I don't like doing that on slides. I think you guys can read yourselves. Blair, I'll read your question in just a moment here. A couple of ones that I like to highlight are the following. Your website should create trust with your audience and break through the digital barrier. So trust is obviously of utmost importance, especially in real estate transactions. In any business, trust is important, but when it comes to real estate, you guys are dealing with really, really large commodities, being homes and condos. These are transactions people don't do very often, and they're for lots and lots of money. They want to feel like they can trust you. Now, that trust is easy to build in person, sitting down over a coffee, but you also can build this trust through your website. And break through that screen, that piece of glass that we're all looking at right now. You can build through that, break through that digital barrier with people by doing a lot of things on your website. Out the About Me page, showing people testimonials, including videos of yourself on your website so people can kind of connect with you via video, showing your sold listings, showing any awards or accolades you've received. All these kinds of things help build trust and credibility with people on your website. The other really big one is that your website represents you 24/7. It's often the first impression people have of you. Let's say you're sleeping, it's 2 a.m. and someone just got off their shift, and this is the time when they're going to do their research and try and find a realtor. When they visit your website, you want to make sure that that website's representing your brand the way that you would want an employee to represent your brand, the way that you represent your brand yourself. So your website is basically like this employee that's working for you 24/7 around the clock. Make sure that that employee is poised to get a raise and is not on the verge of getting fired. If you look at your website and you're thinking, God, this is not doing a good job of representing my brand, maybe you need to step up a little bit, whether it's via content or design. And the last one, again, we like to hit this point home. It's all about providing value to your target audience. So make sure when your target audience is arriving on your website, they are feeling like they're receiving value. Okay, Blair, let me just read your question. What RealtyNinja website client does a really good job of this? And I'm assuming you're talking about this previous slide here. I have some examples that I can send you. So I'll just grab your email address from the list of registrants, and I'll send you some examples after this webinar is over so you can take a look. Off the top of my head, it's kind of hard to pull some of those, but one of the ones that I really like that we've done lately is called hidexrealty.com. So you can check that one out. But I can send you a list of other ones that are doing a great job as well afterwards. So before we get into our on-site optimization tactics, an analogy that we like to use. No, we don't provide blog content, Leanne. Blog content is written by yourself. Or a marketing person that you're working with. We don't believe in providing cookie cutter content. Content should be original and really speak to your target audience. And we're not in the marketing business. We're just in the website business. So we can refer you to copywriters and marketers that can help you with that, but we don't provide it ourselves. We do, however, provide the service of adding your blog post to your website for you. So you can send over a blog post to our support team and we will post it on your blog for you. Good question. Okay, so this analogy that we've used for years with regards to real estate websites and RealtyNinja websites in particular is that your RealtyNinja website is like an awesome race car. It's got all the horsepower and torque and all the bells and whistles that you need to win races. It doesn't, however, come with a driver. And Leanne, this slide really speaks to your question because that driver is the person who's going to be writing blog posts and is the person who's going to be creating advertisements, sharing to social media, adding content to the website, creating searches. That driver is who's going to win the race for you using your race car. So your website is really a tool, much like a race car is a tool to win races. However, we don't provide the driver. So you need a driver, whether that's yourself or a marketing agency or an admin person or someone on your team that you've hired specifically to use your website to help you win races, to help you earn leads and earn business through that website. Otherwise, your website might just be a business card, that people arrive at, take a look at, and that's it. But if you really use it as the tool that it is, it can help earn you leads and help earn you business as well. So with that said, let's look at some on-site optimization tactics, things you can do to drive more traffic to your site and turn more of that traffic into leads. So the first one is blogging, content, resources. So this is really, really important because inbound marketing is one of the biggest ways to attract traffic to your website these days, and it has been for a while. Inbound marketing is the act of producing content that attracts visitors to your real estate website. So by publishing articles on your real estate blog and using keywords that are going to attract your I'll send you these presentation slides at the end. You'll be able to download them after this is over. So you don't need to take notes. You can feel free to just sit back and watch. So using keywords in your blog posts that are attracting your target audience. So when people are searching, they're going to find your blog post, and that's going to pull them through Google into your website, where they can get to know you a little bit better right there. So inbound marketing is the best way to attract visitors to your website. Over time, after you've produced 50, 100, 200, 300 blog posts, those are all still out there, and they're still all attracting visitors to your site. So one blog post might attract 50 visitors to your website a month, but if you have 100, now it's going to attract 5,000 visitors to your website a month. Okay, so this scales up, and the more content you're producing, the more resources you're producing, the more basically value you're giving to your target audience, the more visitors you're going to get. Now, when you're producing content, think about HUNN. Think to yourself, is my content helpful, unique, novel, or new? Now, this isn't something that I invented. These are 4 things that people psychologically find interesting that attracts them to information. So, when you're writing a blog post or creating a social media post or creating any kind of content or resource on your website, ask yourself, is it one of these 4 things? If it's not any of those things, then you probably shouldn't waste your time producing it. If it's one or more of them, fantastic, carry on. It's a great trick to help you kind of think about, is this content going to attract visitors? Also, try to remember to use mixed media. So by including photos in your website and in your blog posts, you're going to be discovered on Google image search as well, for instance. By including videos that are uploaded to YouTube, you're going to be discovered on video search as well as on YouTube. By adding blog posts, you're going to be discovered in the news tab. So you're really amplifying your reach the more different types of content you use. Now, here's an example of one of our customers' websites. They actually do a video blog. And what they do is they film a video, and then they upload it to YouTube, and then they embed that YouTube video into their blog post. So they're really amplifying their reach here by being discovered on YouTube and then being discovered on regular Google search as well. Because they actually write a little excerpt of the video and do a blog post about it. And all of their posts include videos, and this has been super, super helpful to attract visitors to both their YouTube channel as well as their website. So this is a great tactic for using mixed media. If you include images in these blog posts as well, image search is going to pick those images up as well. So think about amplifying your reach when you're creating content. Next on-site optimization tactic is unique descriptions on your listings and MLS pages. Blair, video content, we have short attention spans. So I'd say if you can get it to be 30 seconds to a minute, that's fantastic. If you're going longer than that, then you just want to make sure that the content is interesting and it's not fluff. People will watch a longer video. We watch shows because we find it interesting and they're 30 minutes to an hour long. So, we read books, right? I just finished a book that's 700 pages long. So I'll sit there and read something if I'm interested in it. Ideally, you want it to be within 30 seconds to a minute because typically that's where people's attention spans fall off, but that doesn't mean people won't watch a video that's 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long, if it's really good content. But my short answer to that would be 30 seconds to a minute and a half at most. So the reason I've underlined the word unique here so much is because search engines don't reward you for duplicated content. Unique content is where search engines is what search engines look for and is what they reward. So when I'm talking about unique descriptions on your listings and on your MLS pages, I'm talking about a couple things. So with regard to your listings, if a listing belongs to you and you've uploaded it to MLS, it's one of your clients, then it's going to be extracted into your RealtyNinja website. And because it belongs to you, you're actually going to be able to edit that listing. So you can go in and add more description, okay? You can be much more descriptive with the MLS description You're not limited in number of characters. So you can make it, write a few more paragraphs there about the property. You can also add more photos, add photo captions to each photo, upload PDF files, embed videos, embed virtual tours. You can do a lot when the listing belongs to you, and you can edit that listing. Now, when you do that, that listing becomes unique on your website. It won't exist in that format anywhere else. Now, when you upload it to MLS, it's going to get sent to all other agents' websites via reciprocity. However, the version on your website is going to be completely unique, and it doesn't exist anywhere else on any other agent websites. So now it's a unique piece of content, and now search engines are going to be rewarding you for that content. If you leave the listing the way it is, it's just duplicate content. It exists everywhere else, and it's not going to get rewarded by search engines because you're not the owner of that content. The board is, essentially. And the board's data feed is sending that content to your website. So you definitely want to make sure to go in when the listing belongs to you and edit it, make it a little bit unique so it stands out in the eyes of search engines, and it will also stand out in the eyes of your website visitors and your clients whose listing that is. The other thing is with your MLS pages. So if you're creating niche search pages, so I live in Vancouver, for instance, and if I were to be a real estate agent in Vancouver and I created a search called Yaletown condos, for example, Yaletown's a neighborhood here in Vancouver, and there's a lot of condos for sale. Now, if I'm just showing the listings only on that page, that's all duplicate content. There are so many other pages out there on other agent websites and brokerage websites that are showing Yaletown condos. So it's not unique in that sense, and it's not going to reward me. But if I add some descriptive text to that page, like a couple paragraphs of information, a photo, embedded video, a social media feed, all kinds of stuff to make that more of a community resource, provide value to people, as well as make it unique in the eyes of search engines, now it's a unique piece of content. It's a valuable resource that's actually going to stand out on search engines and attract visitors to your website. So here's an example of one of these pages, and I would highly recommend you guys check out this site yourselves, princetonbc.com. You can either go to /Princeton or just click on their communities tab here and check out the different community drop downs. So what they've done is actually created community resources for each of the communities in this area. Now, this page you'll see here, it's got a video, it's got a weather feed, which is kind of cool. It's got some descriptive text, nice photos all over the place. Listings showing all the shops, restaurants, coffee houses and bars. So this is a real community resource that tells people everything they need to know about Princeton, BC. At the very bottom of this page, there's also the listings, okay? So this is essentially just a listing page on their RealtyNinja website that's showing the properties for sale. However, it's also got a ton of unique information. Now, if you go and search information about Princeton, BC on Google, this is one of the first, if not the very first result that shows up. Why? Because they've turned it into a really valuable resource for visitors, and search engines pick up on that. So keep in mind, this is kind of the best practice. You don't have to go this crazy for it to stand out because most agents aren't even doing 10% of this. So even if you did 10%, you'd still be ranking really high. Most agents just create homes for sale in Princeton and it just shows the listings. If you're just doing a little bit of community info, you're really going to stand out. So I highly recommend this. It creates work for you, but it's one-time work. And then this is a really, really awesome resource for visitors. Next on-site optimization tactic is proper keywords and alt tags. Now, I've been working online for years and years. And back when I started, the keywords were a little bit different. There were these words that were tucked into the code of your website, and they were called meta keywords, meta tags, and a meta description. And they were just hidden inside your code. They weren't visible to website visitors. And that's what search engines looked at. They looked at those three things to figure out what your website was about. So you had to be really descriptive in your meta keywords, meta tags, and meta description. Now, they still look at those three things, but they've also gotten so much smarter over the years, search engines have. Search engines can actually read your website. They read every page of your website, and they use the keywords on your website to figure out what your website's about and who it's for. Who does it provide value to? Who should they show it to when they're showing their search results? They can read your website at a 7th grade comprehension level. So keep that in mind when you're writing content on your website. it should be simple enough that when a seventh grader reads it, they know exactly what your website's about. So if you guys have seventh graders at home, put your website in front of them and let them figure out who it's trying to speak to and see if they can. If not, try and tweak it for them. Writing for people is the real key here, because search engines the robots are kind of like people at this point. They can understand your website, and it's really important that every page of your website is using the same keywords, speaking to the same target audience, so that your website can be ranked properly for those people. Be careful not to be sneaky. Like I said, if you're trying to trick a seventh grader by writing things like #1 realtor in Vancouver, best realtor in Vancouver, award-winning realtor in Vancouver, and that's what your paragraph is, because you're trying to trick search engines to attract people to your website, they're actually going to reward your site negatively. And they might even blacklist your site because they don't tolerate this kind of sneaky behavior, and it shows that you're not a reputable source for information. It shows that you're just trying to trick people to get them to your website. Search engines don't want that. They look really badly upon that kind of activity. It's called black hat optimization. And so you don't want to wear the black hat. You want to do white hat optimization, and you want to be looked at favorably by search engines and not get your domain dinged by search engines, because it's really hard to come back from that. So please, please do not try and be sneaky. Write for people, and search engines will take notice. Another type of keyword out there is called an alt tag. That stands for an alternate text tag. And every image on your website has an alt tag associated with it. So here's a RealtyNinja website for Katie Burkhardt. When you go into the edit mode, a little icon will appear when you scroll over your photos. That icon is just a little gear icon, okay? Now, when you click that little gear icon, pardon my drawing skills, but when you click that little gear icon, this window will open up, which gives you the image options and basically lets you change the image dimensions and also the alt tag, okay? So filling in this alt tag is really important for all of your photos. Make sure you tell search engines exactly what your photo is about. In this case, it's a photo of Katie Burkhardt, a Vancouver real estate professional. So if someone's searching Vancouver real estate professional or searching for Katie Burkhardt, this image is going to show up now and help draw visitors more to her website. So you definitely want to show up on image search. And these alt tags also help your ranking on regular search as well. So really important little micro optimization here for your website. Next on-site optimization tactic is your bio and testimonials. Now, a little bit earlier, I talked about building trust and breaking through that digital barrier. Now, your bio and testimonials do just that, and they do it in a really big way. And one of the things that really bugs me, and I visit a lot of real estate agent websites on a daily basis, is how often I go to the About Me page and it says this page is coming soon, or how often I go to the testimonials page and it says under construction. These are in reality two of the most important pages on your website. In a lot of cases, people are just going to your website to get to know you, get to know what people are saying about you, get to know how long you've been in the business, why they should work with you, what your personality's like, if it aligns with their own, if you seem like someone that they'd want to work with. By leaving that page blank, it could really be the difference between a commission check and not. They might just go there, see that the About Me information is coming soon, and close your website and go to the next realtor they're evaluating. So this is really, really important information. And if you don't have it on your website right now, if you're one of those agents who's saying coming soon, after this webinar is over, I want you to make this a priority and go and update this information. Add an About Me page, introduce yourself, and tell people, why you're doing what you're doing, who you are, how long you've been living in the community, what community you serve, what type of people you want to work with, anything that you can about yourself to be transparent and give people an idea of why they should work with you and why you're awesome. And another good trick here is using video. It's much easier to turn your phone into selfie camera and just film a 30-second video talking about yourself, saying, just the basic things like, hi, my name is this, I work in this community, this is why you should work with me, this is the kind of people I love working with, these are the types of properties I sell, this is my marketing plan for you, give me a call and let's sit down for a coffee. That video is going to resonate with people really strongly. They're going to be able to look you in the eyes, listen to your voice, and have a real human connection there. If you're not going to use video, at least use photos. Give people, glimpses into your life, like lifestyle photos of yourself, photos of you doing hobbies, like if you like to climb or, go surfing or whatever. Those kind of videos can really resonate, or photos can really resonate with people. Don't just have, the professional headshot with the suit and tie. I mean, it's better than nothing. For instance, here in this case, this is my idea of like a bare minimum for a About Me page. We got the suit and tie headshot, smiling faces, name, contact information, and a little blurb about the person. So this is the very bare minimum. You can do so much more, include a lot more photos, include video, include your testimonials on this actual page as well. You can even include your sold listings on this page. So this page can really become like a resume of why people should work with you. So the more you can do, the better, but at the very least, do this much. All right, last on-site optimization tactic before we get into off-site is call to actions. So earlier we talked about the 2 questions to ask yourself when you're building your website. Question number 1, who is the website for? Question number 2, what do I want them to do when they get to my website? So call to actions really speak to that question number 2. You need to direct your visitors through your website, through your funnel, basically, your marketing funnel. So from the moment they arrive, they need to go to a step 2, a step 3, a step 4, and then become a lead somehow, right? And that's the kind of goal of your website. It's this funnel that's trickling them down, sending them in, and then trickling them down into a visitor, or into a lead, sorry. So you need to give them call to actions that they want. Call to actions that are specific to the target audience that you're attracting to your website. Define your objective, figure out what that journey is that people should follow when they get to your website, and add call to actions to lead them on that journey on every page. Even add those call to actions on blog posts. If your goal for this month is to get people to enter a contest and that's your main call to action, every blog post you do should have that call to action on it. Every page on your website should have that call to action on it. If your goal is always to get people to browse listings in a certain area, that call to action should be everywhere. So make sure it follows people around, because that's where you want them to click. Your whole navigation bar, your whole menu for your website is full of call to actions. But again, we live in an attention economy where people have short attention spans. They don't want to go through every page of your website and click through until they find what they're looking for. They want to see what they're looking for right up front, so they know that the website's speaking to them, and they can just click easily and get through that funnel. And one caveat, don't make MLS search your main call to action. No one's coming to your website just to do an MLS search, okay? It's a great feature to have on your website, but it's not what makes you different. Everybody has MLS search on their website. The RealtyNinja MLS search is beautiful, really easy to use and intuitive, and it should be on your website, but don't make it the main call to action. Instead, think about who your target audience is. If it's first-time home buyers, then why not present them with listings within a certain price range, for instance, and call that call to action perfect listings for first-time home buyers. That speaks way more to them than a generic MLS search ever will. All right, with that said, let's get into off-site optimization tactics, things you can do online to send more traffic to your website. So before we get into the specifics, I like to give a kind of SEO in a nutshell here. Everything that you do online, everything your brand does online, tells search engines about you, about what your brand does, about who it targets, about who it works with, and about your expertise. Search engines are looking at everything. They're not just looking at your website, they're looking at your Instagram, they're looking at your Twitter, they're looking at your brokerage website where your name is listed. They see everything, okay? These robots crawl the whole internet and they piece together information about you and about your brand. And it's really important that you are being consistent with your messaging on every single platform out there. Wherever your brand exists online, make sure it's speaking to the same people. Again, don't try and be sneaky and trick search engines by speaking to a different target audience on every social network and a different target audience on your website. That's not going to expand your reach. It's actually going to break down the story that you're telling to search engines, and it's going to hurt your reach and it's going to hurt your traffic. By having that consistent message, it makes you look like a stronger expert on one topic, a stronger expert for one target audience and demographic, and search engines are going to show you and rank your website much higher. Now, the first 5 results on Google get 67% of clicks, and you want to be in those first 5 results. In the next 4 or 5 years, this number, this 67%, is going to become 80% or 90% or even more. Search engine's job is to provide searchers, their customers, with the best results possible for their questions or their queries. So search engines are always trying to get better at providing the best answers right up front. So people don't have to scroll and they don't have to go to page 2 of Google results where all the dead bodies are hiding. So make sure that you're poised for the next 3, 4, 5 years. As the expert, you're showing up in the first 5 results, because that number of 67 is going to go up to 80, 90, and even higher, to the point where Google's not even going to need a page 2 somewhere 10 years or more down the line. So with that said, offsite optimization tactic number 1 is optimizing your bio everywhere and including your website on your bio everywhere that you exist online. Do a search for yourself or your brand name on Google, and every link that comes up, I want you to open it in a new tab, okay? Now go to that tab and make sure that your website is clearly listed there. The reason you want to do this is because that link is a backlink. A backlink is when any other website on the internet links back to your website. That helps search engines identify your authority, your domain authority, which is a really big signal for search engine optimization. You want to make sure as many websites as possible are linking back to your website. Okay, the backlink is when anybody on the internet is linking back to your website. So let's say, for instance, you work with a certain mortgage broker. If they are linking to your website from their website, that's a backlink. Let's also say that you are part of RealtyNinja and you go to their brokerage website and you post your website on your bio within RealtyNinja. That's a backlink from the RealtyNinja website. You want to get as many backlinks as you can. So encouraging people to do that is what I want to talk about. And having tricks on doing that is important too. So one thing you should do is reach out to all of your suppliers, anybody that you work with, even other real estate agents. Like if you've got real estate agents in your office, you want to reach out and you want to get them to link back to your website. Now, one way that I found this is useful is by just creating a partners page, okay? Listing people's websites and their links and their names or whatever on your partners page, whether it's, the notary public, the lawyer, the home stager, the plumber you work with, anybody basically, the mortgage broker, anybody that you work with as a real estate agent. And then maybe there's other real estate agents in other areas that specialize in other property types, and you can link to them. Now do that and then ask them, encourage them to do that back for you as well. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to become a source for the news. Okay, so there's like websites like SourceFodder, for instance, and other websites like that as well. And if you go to SourceFodder, you can sign up to become a source, and you can fill in the categories that you want to be a source for. And when blogs or publications are looking for a quote from an expert, you're going to get an email and you're going to be able to provide them a quote. When you do that, you're going to get a backlink as well. Another trick is your social media accounts, okay? Sharing posts on social media that link to your website, that's a backlink as well. The more people share that post, the more that backlink grows. Another great trick that I've used before is by offering to write blog posts for prominent blogs in your area. So reaching out to, a big blog that has, thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of viewers a month, and saying, hey guys, I'm a real estate agent. I specialize in this area. I wrote a guest blog post and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to publish it. They're 99.9% of the time going to say yes, because it's free content for them and you're basically doing their job for them. So they're happy to publish your content. And what happens when they publish it is there's always going to be a link back to your website, either within your article that you've placed there yourself, or in the footer of your article that is kind of like an author's bio. You can always have a link back to your website. So these are all little tricks to get backlinks, and these tricks will grow. These backlinks will grow over time. It's not like a one-time task. It's an ongoing task to try and earn backlinks. And the more reputable sources you earn backlinks from, the better it speaks to your search engine rating and your score. So getting a backlink from a site that has 1 million visitors a month is worth way more in the eyes of search engines than getting a backlink from a website that has 50 visitors a month. So keep that in mind. And one way that I like to get started is just Googling myself and going to any directory that I'm a part of, even if it's my Facebook page or wherever, and just updating it with my website. Even like my Facebook page here, you want to make sure your website's listed everywhere because it all counts as a backlink. All right, next offsite optimization tactic is social media publishing and engagement. Now, I've worked, like I said, in online for many, many years. I've been in marketing for many years. And when I first started, social media was pretty brand new. There was no Instagram. Twitter was a place where you sent text messages to it. There was no app. Facebook, you didn't like pages, you became a fan of them back then. And so a lot has changed with social media over the years, but it still stands on these two legs, and it always has and it always will. Publishing is the one leg and engagement is the other leg. Blair, I'll get to your question in just a second. So publishing is the one side of social media where you're just posting stuff, right? You're posting content, you're posting photos, you're publishing videos, you're sharing links, whatever it is that you're posting. That's the publishing side of social media. That's the one leg it stands on. The other leg is the engagement. So commenting, sharing, clicking, watching videos. This is all sharing posts. This is all engagement. So that's the other important side of it. It's a mix of these two things. Without one of these legs, it wouldn't be social media anymore. Newspapers publish as well, right? But you can't engage, you can't leave comments or click newspapers because they're just, they're one-way mediums. However, with two-way mediums like social media, there is the engagement. Now, you publish content on your real estate, Facebook page, and your hope is that a bunch of people are going to come and like it. They're going to comment on it. It's going to start a dialogue. They're going to click it and go to your website. And that's great. And hopefully that's happening. But what you need to do in order to maximize that engagement of your own profile is to actually go out there and engage with others. Now, this is one fault that I see with a lot of real estate agents is they get active on social media and they think that all they need to do is just post content. And that's the activity that they need to engage in on social media. When in reality, being a part of this whole mix also means going out there and liking other people's content, commenting on other people's posts, sharing other people's posts, and really being a part of the social media community rather than just blasting it with content nonstop, but also communicating with other people. Now, when you like someone's post or comment on it or share it, they're going to get a notification. And what that notification does is it gives them a shot of dopamine in the brain. This is just, science, basically. And people get happy when they get that dopamine rush. And when they look and see who it's from, oh, it's from you. It's from Blair McKay, real estate, liking their post. So they're going to feel this instant connection of happiness, and they're going to connect that with you and your real estate brand. The more you do this with people, the more happiness points you're getting, and the more they're going to be likely to follow you and come check out your profile and engage with your content. So it's really the symbiotic relationship of publishing stuff, but also engaging with stuff to be a part of the whole social media community. The analogy I like to use is the cocktail party. You show up at a cocktail party and you start talking about how cool you are, how good you look, how attractive your spouse is, how nice your car is, how much money you make, what a good dog you have, what great kids you have. All these things, you're just talking about you, how awesome you are, how great you are, and just bragging the whole time. Soon, people are going to lose interest in you, and they're going to find you a little bit annoying. That's not how a cocktail party works. That's not how social engagement works. You want to be the person that shows up at the cocktail party and, yes, you share a little bit about yourself, but you also ask questions. You listen to people. You respond properly when people are speaking. Maybe someone tells a joke. You laugh really loud and you pat them on the back. You shake hands. So being a part of this community is the same as being a part of the cocktail party. If you want to be liked and engaged with, you need to be part of both sides of it. One big point to mention, when you're sharing on social media, always try and direct traffic back to your website. You don't own social media. You don't own the facebook.com domain, okay? You don't own the instagram.com domain, but you own your own domain. for your website. So you want to earn as many SEO points on that domain as you possibly can. So always try and send traffic back to your website, because the more people visiting your website, the higher your SEO score goes up. Blair, just reading your question. Is your internet site credibility affected when you change like we did to RealtyNinja, or is it the domain name connected? Yeah, no, it doesn't matter who the provider or the host is. What matters is the domain name. So your domain name is your SEO scorecard. That's where all the points are accumulated. So if you've had the same domain for 10 years, you've got a lot of SEO points built up on that domain name. If you go and change that domain name tomorrow, your new domain name has 0 points, okay? It's brand new. So you can change providers all you need, but as long as you're keeping the same domain name, you're gonna be fine. So please be really careful about changing your domain name if you've had it for a while. If it's absolutely essential, then fine, but just know the risk associated with that of losing all of your SEO points. If you need to change your domain name, what we recommend is just forwarding the new domain to your prior domain, to your primary domain. So you're not losing your SEO points, you're just forwarding another domain there. That's a great question. All right, and last offsite optimization tactic is paid traffic versus organic traffic. So the difference between these two things, organic traffic is anybody who finds your website without you paying a penny. Yes, you put work into producing content, like blog posts and all that, but you're not actually paying for advertising. You're just producing content that attracts people to your website organically. That's organic traffic. Paid traffic is when you're buying ads, okay? Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads. Any ads that you're buying that you're hoping to send traffic to your real estate website, that's paid traffic. So it's really important to note that a lot of agents think that creating a paid advertisement for a picture of their face, for instance, and a website URL is going to generate a lot of traffic for them. Unfortunately, the way that you advertise your brand in the physical space, in the physical world, like on bus shelter ads or whatnot, is much different than the way you pay for advertisement online. Paid online advertisement is called PPC advertising. Pay per click, that's what it stands for. Now, when you buy a bus shelter ad, there's no such thing as clicks. People can't click it and go anywhere. But when you buy online advertising, people can actually click it and go somewhere from there. So you want to make sure that before you buy this advertising and hope for lots of traffic, you know where people are going and what that journey is when they're clicking. So let's say I see a picture of a shoe online that I really want to buy. It shows me the price and it says like, click here to go buy this shoe. I know that when I click that link, it's going to take me to where I can pay for that shoe, pick the colors and the size, and buy it right there. So I know what the journey is going to be. Now, if I click that ad and it just takes me to the homepage of the shoe website, I'm going to be pretty annoyed because that's not what I expected, okay? So make sure that people know when they're looking at your ad. If it's an ad for like a home evaluation form, well, I know that when I click that ad, it's going to take me to a form where I can fill out and request a home evaluation from this real estate agent. If it's just a picture of your face and it says #1 realtor in Vancouver, I don't really know what's going to happen when I click it. So I might click it, get to your homepage and be like, nah, I don't know what to do here, and leave. That's just going to cost you money, okay? Your competitors might click it and cost you money. If it's an ad that has an objective, it's much higher. There's a much higher chance that it's going to get engagement and send really good qualified traffic to your website. One good trick is to create content and share it on like Facebook, for instance. Like let's say you write a really good blog post and you share it on Facebook, and organically it's got you a lot of traffic, okay? Without you advertising or paying for any advertising, it's already sending a bunch of traffic to your website. 20 people have liked it, 30 people have shared it, 20 people have commented on it. You're like, damn, this article's doing so well. Now this is a great candidate for advertising, okay? If that article is doing so great organically, if you just boost it with $50 or $100 and show it to 10,000 more people, it's going to reach a lot more people that care about it, okay? So that's a great way to decipher whether content's great for advertising or not. Blog posts are awesome for boosting. And we here at RealtyNinja, every time we write a blog post, we also advertise it on Facebook and on Instagram, so it reaches more people. So keep that in mind. This kind of ad, might look good in the community. It might raise Linda's brand awareness and reach and align her with the community, and also take up space that her competitors might have advertised in instead. However, people aren't going to click this, okay? When it comes to online, people are not wanting to click this picture. They don't know where it's going to go. They don't know what the next step is in the journey. So make sure you know that your online ads and your offline ads are a little bit different from each other, and they need a journey associated with them. All right, I've talked quite a bit. The last thing I want to say here is stay consistent. Everything we talked about today, it's not stuff that you can just set it and forget it. It's stuff that you need to be thinking about and really weave into the biology of your business, so that on a weekly basis you're thinking about content, resources, how to optimize your website, how to get more traffic to your site. You're measuring your Google Analytics and you're seeing how many visitors you got and if your visitors are growing. You're measuring your mailing list to see if your subscribers are growing. All this stuff has to be ongoing. I can guarantee you most agents watch this webinar or read blog articles that talk about this kind of stuff, and they get excited for an hour and then they lose it, okay? So if you play the long game, I guarantee you will outlast the competition. Most people are not playing the long game, especially in the real estate category, especially probably in, when we start breaking it down into the different communities across Canada. So keep that in mind. Consistency is really the key here. And keep your online training going. Read our dojo regularly. I just published a blog post there this week. It's our real estate marketing and technology blog. Also download our ebook series here if you go to RealtyNinja.com/downloads. Just so you know, we practice what we preach. Our goal is always to provide value to our target audience, which is real estate agents in Canada. And we do that by providing, things like this, resources and content on our blog that attracts visitors organically and through paid advertising. We share it on social media, and we're always just trying to drum up interest and value, and it works. Our customer base has grown year after year, month after month. And a lot of traffic for us has been drummed up through things like this, like free resources that we just give away and our blog and stuff. So I'm the main writer for the dojo, and I'm the one who wrote this ebook. So I highly recommend you read it. I'm of course unbiased, but a lot of agents have also subscribed to our mailing list and love the articles. So I hope you'll like it too. And thank you so much for your questions today. If you have any other questions, please drop them in here. I have gone about 6 minutes overtime here, so I won't keep you any longer if you don't have any more questions. If you'll stick by when I end the webinar, you will get redirected to a page with a bunch of useful links, as well as a link to download the webinar slides. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time very, very much. And if you guys ever have any questions, just feel free to email info@RealtyNinja.com. Blair, I'll send you some links to Realty Ninja websites that are pretty awesome after the webinar, and I hope you both have a wonderful day.